Think your life is hard? In this video, we're going to dive into why you wouldn't last a day in medieval times. Modern comforts have softened us, but in medieval times, life was tough ever since you were born. The daily grind for most people in the Middle Ages was brutal, filthy, and dangerous. Let's start with the food, because you'll lose your appetite fast. Forget the Hollywood feasts and giant turkey legs. For ordinary people, meals were bland at best, deadly at worst. The staple was pottage, a watery stew of whatever vegetables could be grown, simmered for days in the same pot. Not exactly gourmet, bread was the backbone of the diet, but it wasn't soft or clean. It was dense, coarse, and full of grit from millstones. Basically, edible sandpaper. Worse, much of the bread was made from rye contaminated with ergot, a toxic fungus that caused seizures, hallucinations, burning sensations, and death. Entire towns tripping on bad bread may have fueled witch hunt hysteria. Meat was a luxury. When peasants did get some, it was often close to rotten. No refrigeration meant your only defense was heavy spices, if you could afford them. Otherwise, you held your nose and prayed. Drinking water was a gamble with dysentery. Rivers and wells were contaminated with human waste. So everyone, including children, drank weak ale. It was safer than water, thanks to the brewing process. And peasants drank up to 8 pints a day. 5-year-olds didn't ask for juice. They asked for beer. No modern bathroom in sight. People used chamber pots, buckets kept under the bed, and emptied them out the window. The warning shout "Gardy Lou" meant "watch out," because waste was about to rain down. In castles, you might find a garderobe, a stone toilet dropping waste down the castle wall. Some dropped 70 feet. Public options were worse. Open-air privies emptied into rivers, and gong farmers, night workers paid well but socially shunned, hauled human waste out of cities. Toilet paper, try moss, leaves, or your hand. The wealthy used scraps of wool. Hygiene standards were prehistoric, because bathing was believed to spread disease. Romantic notions of knights and castles ignore that 90% of people were peasants. They farmed dawn to dusk with hand tools and burned over 4,000 calories a day just trying to survive. If you weren't a farmer, you had a trade, blacksmith, tanner, or apprentice. But all were physically punishing. Apprenticeships began as young as 7 and lasted over a decade. Many worked for no pay, just the hope of becoming a journeyman. Some jobs were pure desperation. Children served as torchbearers, and others collected dog poop for tanning. Pay was abysmal. A day's labor earned 1 or 2 pennies, barely enough for bread. And poor nutrition plus hard labor meant you aged fast. Life expectancy? Around 30 to 40 years if you beat the odds. Medieval medicine was terrifying. People believed disease came from bad air or imbalanced humors. Blood, phlegm, bile. Fever. Time to bleed you with leeches or slice a vein. Some texts recommended using 70 leeches at once. Infections from minor injuries often turned deadly. Mercury was prescribed for everything and might kill you faster than the illness. Tooth decay was rampant. Dental care involved yanking teeth without anesthesia. Many medicines were toxic, and hygiene was laughable. Hand sanitizer? Try wiping your hands on already filthy clothes. 1/3 of kids died before age 5. The Black Death wiped out half of Europe, and doctors' best advice was often, prepare to meet God. The legal system was chaos. Laws varied by village. Steal bread? Lose a hand. Cut down a royal tree? Death penalty. Trials often involved ordeals. Carry red-hot iron or get thrown in water. Heal quickly? Innocent. Get infected or float? Guilty torture was routine. Confess or suffer until you do. Dungeons were overcrowded, filthy, and provided no food. You starved unless family brought you meals. Public executions were community events, complete with food vendors and cheering crowds. The rich could buy their way out. The poor, not so lucky. Forget noble knights and epic duels. Wars were endless, brutal, and involved massive civilian suffering. The 100 Years' War lasted 116 years. Most soldiers weren't armored knights. They wore padded cloth, maybe a helmet, and carried whatever weapons they had. Longbows could pierce armor. Archers trained from childhood, often deforming their bones from drawing 200 lb bows. Battles were lethal. Tens of thousands could die in a single day. But more died from starvation, cold, or infection. Between battles, armies pillaged villages. Civilians were left starving or dead. Sieges were worse. People trapped inside towns ate rats, cats, even each other. And diseases spread faster than swords. Cities reeked. No garbage collection meant trash, waste, and blood covered the streets. Butchers dumped guts in the open. People carried pomanders, herb-filled pouches to mask the stench. Bathing was rare. Many believed water spread illness. Head lice were normal, clothes were itchy, reused for years and rarely washed. Shoes were thin leather with no soles. Privacy didn't exist. Most people lived in single-room homes, slept in shared beds, and did everything in full view of others. Middle English would sound like a foreign language to you. Education was limited. Most couldn't read or write. Information spread slowly, by word of mouth, letters on horseback, or travelers. Superstition filled the gap. People feared eclipses, witches, demons, and bad air. Medicine and science were rooted in folklore. Fact-checking meant asking the village elder. By now, you'd be clawing your way back to the 21st century, where toilets flush, doctors don't bleed you with leeches, and bread doesn't make you hallucinate. The Middle Ages weren't romantic. They were raw, ruthless, and a daily test of survival. So next time your Wi-Fi goes down, remember, it could be worse. Much worse.